Hello, my name is Layla Flores, and today I'll be teaching you about diffusion, osmosis, and calculating water potential. So the first thing we'll be going over is diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of a substance from a high to low area of concentration. So as you can see in this example, there's perfume, which is a high concentration area, and the rest of the area, which would be low concentration area. So when the perfume is sprayed, the perfume molecules are spread out into the air. And when they're spread out, they will be diffused because it's going from the high concentration of the perfume bottle to the low concentration of the rest of the air. So since there is no energy required for diffusion, we can classify it as a passive process, since there is a concentration gradient from a high to low concentration. So connecting diffusion to osmosis, since osmosis is a special type of diffusion. So in this example, we have what is water molecules, a semi-permeable membrane, and a larger molecule. So as you can see, the outside of the cell or outside of the membrane has a high concentration, and the inside of the membrane has a low concentration. So the water, following diffusion, the water is going to go through the semi-permeable membrane, which only allows certain molecules to go in this case, water only. And the larger molecules, or molecules which are not being accepted into the semi-permeable membrane, will be rejected. So osmosis is used to keep equilibrium between the outside and inside environment. Now, we can connect these two topics back to questions 5, 14, 21, and 30. So 5 was a question about how if a potato was put into a beaker with water, what would happen to its final mass. So I incorrectly chose to answer C because I did not realize that sucrose was in one of the beakers and the solution will go from a high to low concentration and change the mass in diffusion. So therefore the correct answer would be A, because the potato will absorb water until its saturation point, since it is a higher concentration of H2O outside the potato, which will diffuse into the low concentration of water inside the potato. The second question we can relate this back to is question 14, since it is about the absorption of NaCl molarity. So I incorrectly chose D as my answer because I forgot that I confused the paths that NaCl would take, and I incorrectly chose B because if NaCl was absorbed, the cell would not swell, it would actually shrivel, which leads to the correct answer of A, since the high levels of salt solution diffuse inside the cell and cause the water concentration to decrease. The third question that we can relate these two topics back to is question number 21. I incorrectly chose answer C because I thought that since aquaforins were responsible for water homeostasis, if the balance of the inside the cell was off, it would cause a cystic fibrosis or the thickening of mucus. However, the correct answer was A, because since water is not going into the cell, the body's response would be to try and get more water into the body, which causes the natural reaction of thirst, or as the question states, diabetes insipidus. The final question you can relate this back to is question number 30, the short answer, which asked what direction the net flow of water would be once we calculated the water potential from the solution in question number 29. So I had calculated the water potential for the solution incorrectly in question 29, which led me to answer the short answer incorrectly. I initially said that the net flow of the water would be from outside the solution into the cell. However, it would be from in the cell to the solution because the water diffuses again from high to low concentrations. Now, moving on from diffusion and osmosis, we'll be going to calculating water potential. So under water potential is also the ability to calculate solute potential. So solute potential, the components of the solute potential formula include the ionization concentration, the molar concentration, the pressure constant, which can either be measured in bars or kilopascals, and the temperature. So the variable of temperature is particular because we need to convert whatever temperature in Celsius that is given to us into Kelvin by adding the Celsius value to 273 Kelvin. So this calculation of water potential can be tied back to the questions number 29 and 28, which I got incorrect. I got these questions wrong because I forgot to convert the 22 degrees temperature to Kelvin. So for number 28, I got negative 1.8, when in reality it was negative 24.5, since I calculated the water potential with 22 instead of 295. And the same goes for number 29, where I did not convert 22 degrees Celsius to Kelvin.